Hello and welcome to the next Lukozer retro game review video. And for this one it is, as you've seen, Cobra Command. This was released in 1984 and it's another Laserdisc arcade coin-op. This one was released by Data East. I don't think they did very many Laserdisc games. This is the only one I can think of that they did. I'm sure if there are others, someone can let me know. Now in the review that I did of Astron Belt, I was saying about how Laserdisc games generally fell into two categories, either the ones with the overlay, playing that on top of a background which the Laserdisc provided, which depending on the game was either interactive or just purely decoration. And then there were the Dragon's Lair type games where your movements kept the animation going, depending on whether you went the right way or did the right action. This is a bit different because this combines both. It has the overlay on top of the Laserdisc animation here, the cartoon, the actual, I guess, cartoon movie. And but it does also have the directional movement in order to keep the game going. So as well as taking out the enemy helicopters, you do have limited control of the helicopter, which you have to send in the right direction. And that meant that this had, I wouldn't say more playability, but it had something there to appeal to fans of both types of Laserdisc game. That's if you weren't one of those people who hated Laserdisc games. And around this time, 84, the Laserdisc fad was starting to fade out a little bit, because the first Laserdisc games were either terrible, or so a lot of people say, or had limited gameplay. They weren't proving to be all that successful, combined with the fact that the Laserdisc cabinets themselves were seriously fucking expensive and they were very high maintenance. The Laserdisc players themselves had a habit of going wrong, and some were worse than others. The most infamous one was Firefox. I can't remember what Laserdisc player that one used. I think it might have been a Philips, but it was infamous for constantly going wrong, and I can speak from experience that that's a reputation it deserves. Firefox was only in one arcade down Southend. I only played it 3 times, and on 2 of those goes the Laserdisc player fucked up, so yeah, I was a bit pissed off with it. Now Cobra Command, there was only one arcade that had this game, and I played it a few times, but I didn't play it all that often. It wasn't a particular favourite, largely because it is seriously fucking difficult. But I've been having a few goes on the old Laserdisc emulator, and I'm getting better. But as you will soon see, that's more of an indication of how shit I was compared to how good I am now. Now this sequence here, a track sequence, actually shows you how the game works. So if you watch the parts from the actual gameplay, this is one. Suddenly the helicopter explodes for no reason, but that's because the overlay there, when you are actually playing it, same here, you would have to be obviously targeting that helicopter that explodes, and then the same with, I was going to say the same with this one, but that shows when you fucked it up. So okay, we'll show it with this sequence here. It shows it's a lot longer. So again, you can see the tank explodes for no reason, then the helicopter, and then the next tank, and so on and so on. So that's how the game or the animation would run without the overlay. But obviously while you are playing the game and you have the overlay there, you have to make sure that you are firing in the right spot at the right time in order to keep the animation going, and then you have to move to get the fuck out of wherever you are. Anyway, let's get a game underway, and I'll hopefully show you what I mean in this rather unimpressive description. Here we go. Right.
Okay, Captain, let's knock him out of New York.
Now I'm sure when I first played this, he doesn't say let's knock him out of New York, he says let's blast them out of the sky. So here we go. Now your co-pilot does tell you which direction to go, but he has a habit of leaving it to the last split second. So you've got to listen out and watch the instructions on the bottom there, telling you where to go.
Take a right, head downtown.
As you can see, the overlay, well, the graphics and the overlay are atrocious. There's no two ways about it. It looks like something a BBC Micro would do. But I mean, the animation on the Laserdisc is obviously... Oh, fuck it, I was too busy waffling away and I missed a turning. Don't start, right. Right, you may recognise that bit from the track mode there.
Hold it steady there.
Take out the jet, then there's another helicopter coming in and I missed it. Right, so we got to do this bit again. Okay, so we've got through that part. Let's see if we can get this bit done now.
Hold it steady there.
Fucker. Ah, fucking missed again. That was one of my shittiest goes for a while. It still got me in the top, whatever, top 4. Alright, anyway, that's a screen you do get very used to seeing. Alright, let's give this another go.
Okay, Captain, let's knock him out of New York.
Terrorists using aircraft to attack New York, and there are the Twin Towers. If they had actually attacked the Twin Towers, the chances are the US would have fucking banned this game now. So, I guess we'll get on with the review. So, the audio is great on the Laserdisc. The sound effects from the overlay are a bit shit, to put it mildly. And likewise, the visuals on the overlay, on the overlay are shit. So they look like something a BBC Micro would render. But I mean, the animation on the Laserdisc is fantastic. It's very much in the sort of Japanese animation style, but thankfully not the fucking like anime and wanky hentai that I detest. It's more like something out of Battle of the Planets or something. Alright, this is where it narrows. Oh, fuck it! Thankfully I can yeah, continue from pretty close from where I took that, yeah, part where I lost my life. Right. Now, those two fuckers, and that fucker's down. And that's level 1 done, I think. There we go.
They're in the canyon now. Drive them out.
This is quite a momentous occasion. This is the first time I have ever actually got to level 2. So there we go. Oh, well, it didn't last very long, but the fact that I got to level 2 is an achievement in itself, and I did it with not just 1 life left, but this is my last life.
Head down.
Fuck it. Oh, yeah, I'll say that looked like I was too slow there. That's my last life, but that, believe it or not, is the best I've ever done. So this game is extremely tough. It's seriously challenging, and I think that's one of the reasons why, although it was well received by reviewers and that when it first came out, gamers didn't really like it all that much. I mean, most people agreed that this was one of the better Laserdisc games. I can't say I agree. I think Acorn Belt is a much better game. But
Condition 1. Come in, Cobra Command.
back in the day, I didn't like it very much because I found the difficulty far too high. Now, it's grown on me a lot more than it had back then. So it looks great when you see the animation. As I keep saying, the overlay looks fucking horrible, and likewise sounds, the in-game sounds are fantastic, but the overlay sound is fucking abysmal. And the gameplay, for, you know, even people who detest Laserdisc games would be hard pressed to say that the gameplay isn't that good. The gameplay's fine. It's like any decent shooter, if you ask me. So I think the game's great. I would score it not quite as high as Acorn Belt, so I'll give this 8.5 out of 10. And yeah, I'd say definitely give this a bash on the emulator. And unlike Acorn Belt, this works fine, which came as quite a pleasant surprise to me, because when this first came out, it was actually meant to use Mark III hardware, and yet on my emulator I'm using Acorn Belt hardware, and I kept thinking, oh no, does that mean it's going to fuck up like my emulated version of Acorn Belt does? But no, it doesn't. It works fine. So yeah, definitely worth a go with this. So there you go, that is Cobra Command from Data East. 8.5 out of 10. Pretty good stuff. So that brings this review to an end, and we will see you at the next one.